This video is being brought to you by Cutting Edge Gamer. If you upgrade graphics cards often, Cutting Edge Gamer is the perfect option for you. Lease the newest graphics cards on the market, such as Nvidia's RTX 20 series, for a low monthly payment. Click the affiliate link below in the description to find out more.
So MSI just took a brilliant shot at Apple's Pro Display stand, which goes for $1,000. Keep in mind that's not even the monitor. The monitor at least costs $5,000. This was really clever marketing on MSI's part. Let's get into it.
Skip it up and that up.
So at Apple's WWDC 2019, they announced the Mac Pro, which is going to be pricey, but it does look pretty damn impressive. And of course, they came out with a new monitor to go along with that called the Apple Pro Display XDR. Really impressive specs. It ain't cheap. If you want to get one that has the regular glass on, it's going to cost you $5,000. If you want the etched glass, so it's going to be less reflective, that's going to cost you $6,000. And then they totally dropped the ball by saying that, hey, the stand comes separate and the stand is going to be $1,000. Steve Jobs would have never done it that way. Even if the stand was separate, he would have found a way to, look, I'm not a huge fan of Steve. Anyway, I'll hold my Steve Jobs rant off until later. But how they presented this on stage was facepalm worthy, and MSI is totally mocking them for this. And this is what MSI had to say about it. Here's the image that MSI put together. Pro stand. No 5K, no screen, no color gamut. It's just a stand. Yep, still just a stand. And then here's the MSI Prestige 34-inch monitor, which is actually 2 inches bigger than Apple's, which is $1,300. 5K resolution, nano IPS display, HDR 600 certified, 98% DCI-P3 color gamut, includes a stand. Now, first off, yeah, this was a brilliant marketing ploy by MSI, but it's kind of sort of not fair. Yeah, I had to say that to defend Apple, but I got to be objective here. First off, the Pro Display XDR has a much higher resolution. The MSI Prestige, I could not remember the name, it's why I had to look down. They say 5K, but it's actually 5K 2K. It's 5120 by 2160, which is a much lower resolution than Apple's Pro Display XDR. Apple's monitor is a 6K monitor, which is 6016 by 3884 pixels. So that's a big difference in resolution. Apple's Pro Display XDR monitor has a contrast ratio of 1,000,000:1, where the Prestige monitor from MSI only has a contrast ratio of 1,200:1, and there's a plethora of other specs that Apple's monitor beats the Prestige monitor from MSI. So I'm not saying their monitor is not a good deal, but it's kind of like, okay, cool, it includes a stand, but spec-wise, it doesn't compare to Apple's monitor. It's not even close. First off, yeah, okay, MSI's marketing right there was brilliant, because Apple, look, you want to sell the stand separate to make your extra coins, well, more than extra coins, have at it. But I know Steve Jobs, and look, I have many issues with Steve Jobs, and the guy was a dick in many ways, but he would have brought out the monitor, and he would have said, and he would have maybe rolled in the price of the stand with the monitor and been like, the Apple Pro Display XDR with the stand goes for $6,000 or $7,000. And he would have said it in some way that would have made it seem like a deal, because when you look at the real competitors, okay, to Apple's Pro Display XDR, it actually isn't a bad price. And MKBHD and Dave Lee said the same thing. The real competitors, like Sony's monitors, which one of their monitors, I have the model right here, it's a Sony BVM-HX310. It's a 31-inch 4K monitor, HDR master monitor. It's actually a lower resolution than Apple's 6K monitor, goes for $29,000, over $29,000. So Apple's, depending on which display you get, is either $23,000 or $22,000 less than a competitor monitor from Sony. That's more in the league of what the Pro Display XDR that Apple's offering. That's the stuff that Steve Jobs used to do, because he used to know that, okay, we offer premium products, but compared to our competitors that are offering something similar, he would compare them. And I remember all the time he used to have, back in the PowerPC days and the G4, G5 days, He used to show comparable products running Photoshop and video editing software. You would see how much faster and how much better they ran. And he was just such a good showman. He would have found a way to make people who don't even want to buy the Pro Display XDR just want to buy the stand and shove it up their asses because he was so good at that. And Apple's lost that when Steve Jobs passed away. That's one, he would have found a way to be like, man, what a great deal for that monitor. And compared to other reference monitors, it kind of is. And that's the point. And that's what Apple should have been making sure. They should have been, look at that Sony monitor. You need a home equity loan for that. Our monitor, yeah, it ain't cheap, but compared to its competitors and what it offers, it's a hell of a bargain. And it kind of is. Am I going to buy one? No. Am I going to buy a Mac Pro? No. It's not. Even with me being a content creator, it's not. I'm not in that demographic. But if they marketed it right and showed what their competitors are offering, people wouldn't be laughing at the stand right now. But because Steve Jobs is gone, that's where Apple has kind of lost their way. Do I think the Mac Pro is a hell of a step up from the garbage can they had back in 2013? Yeah, they brought it in the right direction. It seems like it's going to be a hell of a product, and I'm sure it's going to sell well. But showing a stand separately for $1,000, they had to have known it's not going to go over well. And I guarantee you, the next iteration of this monitor, this XDR monitor, they're going to include the stand so they're not laughed at. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one.